Welcome to Activate Your Introvert, the weekly radio show to uncover and unlock the intrapreneurial skills in your business. In this week's show, Introvert Myth of the Week. Introverts are not good team players. Baloney was my starting point to that one. Tip of the week, thinking about away days, how introverts fit, and the great return to the office. And a discussion with Trudy Cooper. Trudy helps introverted ex-corporate women become confident entrepreneurs by teaching them how to dress for success in a way that's credible and approachable. The good news is that we've now gone past the next stage of unlocking in the UK, and it's great to think I can go and sit on my favourite rooftop bar watching the boats in the bay if it hadn't gone so cold. The downside is that it's more disruption and change at work. Even if you're looking forward to being back in the office, a team day, away day, or series of business-focused team sessions, perhaps remote or perhaps face-to-face, can help you to rebuild your team and help them adjust to the current situation. Although, let's be honest, it's more about flexibility, as I think things will keep changing for a while yet. I was recently being interviewed for some media articles about managing this change, whether you're an introvert leader or an extrovert leader who manages introverts. Some of the points to consider. 1. What's the answer for you? Putting aside that it'd be nice to see everybody again, what has worked well for you? Working from home? Working in the office? Both? And, more importantly, for which task? Your level of introversion or extroversion may affect your answer, but each team member may have different preferences, and it's worth thinking about that, rather than just going, this works for me. Number 2, how should you manage your team? Maybe that's about saying, what can your team take from the last year that could help you to build the right answer for them? Of course, your objective is to help them to be more productive and possibly to manage the control level that you have. But one thing we've learned is that different people learn different things. This is a great chance to reset the team communications, meetings, and how they interact to take in all of their learnings and preferences. It's a bit like the opportunity you get when you start in a completely new job. Ask them, get them to discuss it, get them to propose how they should work collaboratively and individually. Overlay that with how you need to know what's going on. Number 3, beware the hybrid meeting. My prediction is we'll end up having more meetings where some of your team are in the office and some elsewhere. That can lead to two-speed communications, especially when the remote staff are introverts. Hybrid meetings do work, but you need to facilitate them so everybody can talk and listen and does talk and listen. If you want to discuss ways of improving your team meetings, I would love to chat more. I was really pleased to see my book, Running Meetings That Make Things Happen, featured in The Economist recently, and I'd be happy to talk to you about some of the lessons. Do let me know what tip you'd like to help you activate the intrapreneurial skills in your business, or what introvert myth you'd like exposed. Drop me an email, give me a call, or add it as a comment to your review on the iTunes store. I would love to hear from you. But now, it's time to talk to Trudy. Welcome, Trudy.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to speak with you.
Tell me, just before we get into introverted ex-corporate women and dressing for success, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, I'm off the scale introvert.
Okay, that's brilliant. What does that mean to you?
I've spent a lot of my life thinking that there was something wrong with me. I definitely enjoy spending time alone. I get totally absorbed in a creative project and lose all sense of time. Certainly don't need people around me to feel happy. I avoid crowds and small talk. I just don't think I'm very good at it. But I do enjoy having a deep conversation with somebody one-to-one. That was interesting. In a recent interview you did, I picked up on something called Johari's window about...
Yeah, it's a great tool, isn't it?
Introverts, and particularly sort of resonated with the blind window, where other people perceive things about us that we are perhaps not aware of ourselves, if I've understood that correctly.
Yep, you've got it.
Sort of examples from my sort of past came to mind. When I was teaching, when I was much younger, I was really taken aback when it got back to me that the cleaners thought I was a snooty, stuck-up bitch. I couldn't understand why, because I thought I was pretty open and friendly. I've also had other feedback that I've come across as unfriendly and superior. It was quite upsetting at the time. I thought, is that really how they see me?
Incredible, isn't it? So it's and yet when you look back on it, you kind of see these things, and they can be quite formative as well, can't they?
Absolutely, yes. Mm. I mean, I'm now totally at ease with it. It's absolutely fine. That's who I am. There's nothing wrong with me. But it has led to...
I think that's the important thing there, Trudy, isn't it? Is when people realise, actually, there's nothing wrong and become at ease with it, you can use the strengths that it gives you.
Absolutely.
Tell me, how did you get involved with helping introverted ex-corporate women? I can perhaps see where you leaning towards introverted people came from, but what made you move into specialising in ex-corporate women that were looking to become confident entrepreneurs?
Well, it's quite a long story, because I sort of trained to be a colour and image consultant, working with ladies on, largely it's about confidence, about how they feel about themselves, that client.
Does wearing a different colour really make a difference to how we feel?
Absolutely.
Or is it how is it how we feel, or is it how we are viewed, do you think?
It's everything. It's on a very physical level. Wearing colours that are in harmony with our own natural skin tone and eye tone and hair colour is very positive for communication, because it means that people see us much more clearly than what we're wearing. So it makes our skin look fresher, our eyes look brighter, generally makes us look more healthy. So
it's not just introverts wear dark colours and extroverts wear brighter ones, but there's a lot more to it then.
Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with that at all.
Excellent. I'm pleased to hear that, because I've been told before now that I can't possibly be an introvert because I love wearing and often wear bright orange. You think that's nonsense too?
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant. Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. When you're helping somebody to dress for success, how do you, particularly if they're introverted, how do you help them to look the part and look more confident, credible and approachable?
What I would say to introverts is let your authentic personal image do the talking, and don't underestimate that first impressions are pretty powerful and tend to be what others remember. So it acts as sort of a visual shorthand that quickly expresses who you are, what you stand for and your values. So you can let your appearance do the talking really before you say a word. There's sort of 3 quick questions that it's actually quite fun to ask yourself about this, and I'm focusing, because it's different for different situations socially or whatever, but we're talking about the business environment at the moment. So number 1, does my appearance convey who I am, my values and what I want to tell the world about myself? Number 2, is my appearance appropriate for the occasion, my intentions and my audience's expectations? But most of all, will it resonate with my ideal clients? And then the 3rd one is, does what I'm wearing fit me well and flatter my physicality? Does it feel comfortable? Now, emotionally as well as physically. When we look and feel good, naturally it increases our confidence and therefore aids effective communication. Now, these things may seem a bit obvious when I say them, but they're sometimes easy to overlook when we're concentrating on other things.
What goes wrong then? What is it that makes us buy the wrong clothes?
Because I think we've got so many influences coming in about what's available, what's in fashion, which can be quite off-putting, because one thing certainly doesn't fit or suit everybody. Some people don't trust their own instincts in a way that they sort of listen to everyone else, and unfortunately other people advising just from a friendly point of view will just tell that person what they like, what they get drawn to. So it's so easy to get put off course and end up with a wardrobe of clothes that just doesn't work together. And also if we're trying to be something we're not to create an impression, that doesn't work, because that's just like acting. But there is a very effective, proven methodology for finding, it's not just colours, it's the shades and the density of colours that actually harmonise and put somebody, it's like being in focus, a picture that's either in focus or out of focus. So you see somebody very clearly and your attention is on them at eye level.
Okay, that makes quite a bit of sense. I like the analogy of being in focus or out of focus and things that can help. Trudy, we are running out of time, I'm afraid. Could you give me a tip for, perhaps, first of all, for an introvert to dress differently, to appear more confident and credible?
Not so much differently. It's the things that really do honour them as an individual. We don't always see ourselves clearly. We, as I say, are influenced by all sorts of outside things. Being really happy about getting dressed in the morning and just feeling they look right for that particular occasion.
And should an introvert perhaps buy their clothes differently to the way an extrovert would buy their clothes, or a non-introvert?
No. I don't believe that there's a deciding factor in how people would dress. It's very much down to how that individual wants to be seen so that they can be at ease with themselves. Everyone has a unique personality, and it's just about expressing our true essence and our intentions by the way we dress up and show up.
Okay, so if I summarise then, it's not really about introvert and extrovert when it comes to the way we dress. It is about, as well as our skin tones and physicality, it's about other underlying personalities that impact the way we're going to carry things off. But from what you've already said, some people will come across much more confidently and flamboyantly, and stereotypically, at least on the surface, they might be considered extroverts. So there's not a direct link, but there is a kind of implicit link perhaps hidden away down there, which is where you help people to become more successful and in the way they appear and feel about themselves. So Trudy, when somebody wants to get back in touch with you, what's the best thing you can do?
Right, well, I have actually created a little guide that listeners might find interesting. My top tips on how introverted entrepreneurs can make a fabulous impression at their next networking event without having to stand up and talk about themselves. So if anyone would like a copy, email me at trudy@trudycooper.com with the words top tips, and I'll be very happy to send them a copy.
So that's trudy@trudycooper.com and put top tips in the title. Thank you. And I'll put that on the sleeve cover anyway. Trudy, thank you so much for your time. It's been a great pleasure talking.
My pleasure.
And now it's time for Introvert Myth of the Week. Those crazy stories that I hear and you hear that some people actually believe. Introverts are not good team players. I can see where this baloney comes from. It's where people wrongly assume introverts don't like being with people. The reality? There are some skills introverts hold which are beneficial to the whole team. Number 1, they're good listeners. How many times have you seen or heard one of your team members helping another and everything gets worse? Largely because somebody wasn't listening. Number 2, introverts work at belonging. They tend to prefer belonging to a coherent team. It's a bit like the introvert preference for fewer, deeper friends. As they value belonging, they'll work at it, often quietly and in the background. Number 3, they keep quiet, apart from when needed. How many meetings have you sat in where some people just never shut up? That really is not good for the team. Introverts like being team members, and they can be good for your team. Thanks for listening to Activate Your Introvert, and I hope you enjoyed this week's show. Please add your review to the iTunes store, it will mean a lot. Enjoy being introversial, and I'll catch up with you next week.